If you've ever taken or studied for an English exam, you've probably noticed that the English that you learn for the exam isn't quite the same as the English you usually hear in London or New York or Dublin, wherever, or the English you hear on TV or in the movies. So you can pass your English exams and still sound a little bit stiff, a bit formal. Now, just to be clear, I'm not anti-exam. I prepare students for their exams every day. It's literally my job. But passing an exam and sounding natural are two different skills, and it's useful to understand some subtle differences. Let's start with this word, moreover. Now, I can honestly say, until I started preparing students for their English exams, I don't think I'd ever used this word in my entire life, not even when I was at university. But you'll see it in every textbook, and it's fine in the right context, in an essay or in a formal setting, but sometimes I see students using it in emails to friends or even in a casual conversation. And again, that's not wrong, it just sounds a little bit too formal, a little bit stiff. Listen to this typical exam-style phrase. Moreover, this approach is highly effective. Now that's perfect in an essay, but we wouldn't usually say that to a friend because it doesn't sound, well, friendly. In real life, we'd say, anyway, this gets the job done, or it works well. This just sounds less stuffy. We do the same thing with verbs. You might see, the meeting has been postponed. That's correct, and you'll hear it in certain situations. But with colleagues, co-workers and friends, we would say, the meeting's been put off, or the meeting's been pushed back, did you hear? It's the same meaning, these are just more common in everyday speech. So, you're starting to see the pattern, right? Textbook English, or exam English, can sometimes sound a bit stuffy or old-fashioned. Again, don't shoot the messenger here. I think that exams are really useful. But for any of you who play a musical instrument, the difference is a bit like playing a classical piece for an exam or playing pop songs for your friends. It's a different skill. Real conversations tend to be less formal. Just be aware of that and tune in to how people are speaking. It's the same pattern with adjectives. In exams and formal English, you'll see things like, that was quite amusing, or that was highly unusual. But in real life, we'd tend to say, that was pretty funny, or that was really weird. The formal versions are not wrong, they just sound a little bit more stiff, a little bit more formal. This also applies to whole phrases. In essays, we use phrases like, it is widely believed that, it is generally accepted that. Now, these are perfect for that situation, but in real life, we would use, people say that, or everyone thinks that, everyone says that. Another very common one, there are many advantages to this approach. Here, we would just say something like, there are loads of upsides to this. It's the same idea, it just lands differently. Whether it's linkers, verbs, adjectives, or whole phrases, the pattern is usually the same. Textbook English, or exam English, is often a little more formal. Spoken English is usually simpler and a bit more direct. Of course you can use the textbook versions. They're useful, they exist for a reason. But if you want to sound more natural, in most situations, choose the more casual option. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.